cavalry horse with the speed of light, a cloud of dust, and a hearty hi-yo silver. The Lone Ranger.
Any sign of it yet?
Not yet, boss.
Well, it'll be getting dark soon. But who can complain about a little waiting?
With our share of this job, we ought to be able to take it easy for a long time.
Yes, sir. A long, long time.
Here she comes.
Rein up!
Keep your hand away from your gun.
You John Walker?
Yes, but how do you know who I am?
That your bag?
Yes.
All right. Empty your pockets into here.
I'll give you my money.
I said empty your pockets. I'll take that.
There isn't much money.
There's more than you think, Mr. Walker. More than you think. Well, so far, so good. Hurry, look! Come on.
Who are you? What do you want? I haven't got any money on me. I didn't take anything from the stagecoach. You can search me.
This isn't a holdup. I'm not an outlaw.
But the mask.
I have reasons for wearing this mask. Let's get back to the stagecoach. All right, fella. Step down.
Who are you, anyway?
You're the one that has the explaining to do.
Stage driver and man who ride on stage, both dead. We put them in coach. Find this on floor.
Handkerchief. Initial JW. Did you find anything else, Tonto?
Only this.
Broken match.
They find it on ground by stage.
It isn't mine. I didn't have anything to do with the holdup.
You didn't have anything to do with it? Why don't you tell me what happened?
I heard some shots. When I got to the rise over there, I saw a couple of masked men holding up the stage.
We also heard the shots. This gun has just been fired. I can smell the burnt powder.
Well, I fired a couple of shots at the holdup men.
Tracks show men ride away. If this fellow not with men, why him try and get away?
Well, I saw his mask. I didn't know who you were.
That's understandable.
We follow trail of men him say hold up stage, Kemo Sabe.
No, Tonto. It'll be dark in less than an hour. We'll ride into town and see our old friend Sheriff Briggs and tell him what happened.
Me drive stagecoach.
We'll meet in the sheriff's office. Let's go.
Yeah, but suppose the sheriff doesn't...
Doesn't what?
Nothing. Nothing.
Ready to ride?
Yeah. Yeah, sure. Let's go.
So you say you fired 2 shots as the hold-up men rode away?
That's right.
It's too bad that stagecoach driver or his passenger isn't alive to back up your story. Jeff, if you're innocent, you shouldn't have tried to run away.
But I told you, Sheriff, I knew if I was seen around there, it'd look bad for me.
And it does look bad, Jeff. Especially since you've been out of prison less than 5 months.
Sure, I made one mistake, but I served my time.
Sheriff, I don't like to interfere, but past mistakes shouldn't be held against a person.
I feel the same way, but some people don't.
Mr. Scott, for instance.
I'll have to lock you up, Jeff. The evidence is all against you. You've served time. It's known you need money, and, well, with 2 people dead.
Sure. Give a dog a bad name, and he lives with it for the rest of his life.
I'm sorry.
Do you think him guilty, Kemo Sabe?
No, Tonto, I don't.
Then what we do?
We'll go after the men who are guilty.
I certainly hated to do that.
Sheriff, who is this Mr. Scott?
Oh, he's president of our bank here in town. His daughter and Jeff, well, they seem to care for each other.
Doesn't Mr. Scott like Jeff?
No. No, he doesn't, and well, you can't blame him for that. Jeff's prospects for the future are not very good. The only job he could find was that of a ranch hand at the Circle C spread.
Sheriff, a man shouldn't be judged by what he has, but by what he is.
I sure hope Jeff is innocent.
Well, in the morning, Tonto and I will try to follow the trail of the men Jeff spoke of. You'll hear from us.
Good luck.
Adios.
I wonder what's keeping him.
Well, that must be the boss now. Well, howdy, Martin. We expected you before this.
Well, I rode the back trails. I didn't want anybody to see me with this box of clothes. How'd everything go?
Oh, without a hitch.
Good.
Look, here are his papers.
Huh. Well, with these, you won't have any trouble identifying yourself as Mr. John Walker, bank examiner. Well, those are your clothes.
Say, these are pretty fancy.
But not too. They're just what an honest, respectable gentleman would wear. I ought to know. I've been one long enough.
So now you're going to get some money the easy way, huh?
Well, why not? Do you know what it's like working in a bank, handling money, lots of money, seeing it, touching it, and none of it yours? And well, I do. And I've waited for exactly the right minute. And now I'm collecting.
Worm is finally turned, huh?
Yes. As you so ably put it, the worm has turned. And it'll be profitable for all of us.
Still gonna pull the job tomorrow?
Yes. I'll meet you here after the job and split with you. Oh, and you don't have to worry about the sheriff looking for you right away.
How come?
There's a young kid named Jeff Williams in jail. They think he held up the stage.
That's a break for us.
And I'll see that young Williams escapes tomorrow. The sheriff and his deputies will be so busy chasing him, they won't be around to start looking for you until they've had a good head start.
Hey, you think of everything, don't you?
I told you. I waited and planned a long time. All right, now, here's what you're to do. Tomorrow being Saturday, the bank will close at noon. You're to arrive at the bank at precisely 3 minutes to 12. Mr. Scott.
Yes, Martin.
Would you authorize this check for payment, sir?
There you are.
Thank you, Mr. Scott.
Here are those papers you wanted, Dad.
Thank you, Jean. Jean, about your going to the jail to see Jeff, I feel that...
I've told you, Dad. I don't want to discuss that anymore. As soon as we close the bank, I'm going over to see him.
I'm looking for Mr. Scott.
He's right over there, sir.
Thank you. Mr. Scott?
Yes, may I help you?
Oh, thank you. I'm John Walker, the bank examiner.
Well, how do you do?
How do you do, sir?
Won't you sit down?
Oh, thank you.
We expected you yesterday.
Well, unfortunately, I was delayed a little.
That delay may have saved your life. The stage was held up yesterday, and both the driver and passenger were killed.
Well, say, that's terrible.
Yes. And now, if I may see your credentials.
Oh, yes. Yes, of course. You know, one can't be too careful.
Mr. Scott, would you like me to close the bank up now?
Yes, please, Martin. Mm-hmm.
Mr. Scott, I heard you say you were going over to see Jeff. I wondered if I might go with you.
Why, yes, of course.
I thought possibly there might be something I could do to help him.
Jeff needs all the help he can get right now.
Well, your credentials seem to be in order, and I'm sure you'll find our books the same way.
I'm sure I will, sir.
You'll excuse me now. I want to lock the door after Martin and my daughter.
I'll see you later, Dad.
All right, Jean.
Mr. Scott?
Why, what's the meaning of this?
Don't make a sound and you won't get hurt. Now unlock that door.
Any trouble?
Nah. Get him tied up and gagged. Boy, this is the easiest job we ever pulled. No shooting and all the time in the world to clean out the place.
But, Jeff, I believe you. Doesn't that mean anything?
So you believe me? But I'm still in jail. I don't know. Maybe your father's right.
Oh, Jeff, please don't say those things.
Even if I don't hang, even if I get out of this mess, what can I ever hope to offer you? Whenever anything happens, I'll be the first one they come looking for.
You made a mistake, but you paid for it.
And if you married me, you'd be making a mistake. Jean, I think it's best if you don't come see me anymore.
Jeff, you don't mean that.
Please go.
Jeff!
Please.
Well, that was hard to do.
What else could I do?
Jeff, this morning I heard some angry talk around town, and everybody's convinced that you're guilty. And some people are ready to act. With only a deputy on duty, you won't be safe even in here.
But if I try to get away, it'll be like saying I'm guilty.
If what I heard happens, it won't matter to you tomorrow whether you're guilty or not. You can always come back after your innocence is proved.
Tell of men who held up stage go in the stream, but them not come out.
Guess they use the old outlaw trick of riding into a stream to cover up their tracks.
They'll be plenty hard to follow then, Kemo Sabe.
We'll ride down both banks and see if we can find out where they left the stream.
We're doing all right. A nice, clean job. Now, get the key out of his pocket. We don't want anybody walking in here. I got it. Let's see how much we got.
All right.
Raise your hands.
Say,
Get your hands up.
Sure, but...
Look, is this some kind of a joke?
It isn't. I just decided to cut you two out of our little deal.
Shots sound like they come from over ridge.
Come on, Tonto. Dead.
This one dead, too.
These credentials identify him as John Walker. He's a bank examiner.
Look, Kemo Sabe. Match broke in half.
Yes, broken the same way as the one we found at the stagecoach holdup.
It not seem right bank examiner be mixed up in holdup. Remember man who was killed on stagecoach? Him not have credentials or wallet.
Except for that handkerchief with the initials J.W. J.W. could stand for John Walker.
You think him real bank examiner and these men steal wallet and papers?
Yes, Tonto, I do. And what we found here could go a long way toward proving Jeff's innocence.
How that, Kemo Sabe?
Well, it backs up Jeff's story of the two holdup men. And since Jeff's in jail, he couldn't have done this.
We go tell sheriff?
Not yet, Tonto. First, let's try to pick up the trail of the person who killed these men.
Me not understand this. Horse turn onto road, go in direction of town.
Tells us one thing, Tonto. The person we're after isn't afraid of showing his face.
Let him outlaw, him right back trails.
That's right.
What we do now, Kemo Sabe?
We'll tell the sheriff just exactly what we've found out.
Me wonder why Jeff not still locked in cell.
Not a sign of Sheriff Briggs or any of his deputies.
Maybe that sheriff now.
All right, men. Maybe we'll have better luck tomorrow.
Something wrong, Sheriff?
Yes, plenty wrong. Jeff managed to get hold of a 6-gun somewhere. Forced one of my deputies to let him out of jail. I've had a posse out all afternoon trying to pick up his trail. I had hoped that boy was innocent, but after this...
Sheriff, I believe Tonto and I found the 2 men who held up the stage.
You did? Where are they?
Both men dead.
Dead?
Yes, shot by a third party.
Sheriff.
Don't be alarmed, miss. I'm not an outlaw.
I can vouch for him, Miss Scott. Now, what's your trouble?
It's my father. He didn't come home for lunch, and nobody's seen him all afternoon.
Oh, well, he's probably just working late over at the bank.
But I went over there, and nobody answers.
Was your father alone the last time you saw him?
No, there was a bank examiner with him.
Come on, Sheriff. I'll explain later. Do you have the key?
No, Dad has the only one.
With your permission, I'll break it in.
Dad! Dad, are you all right?
I guess so. Let me help you, sir.
Thank you. Who are you?
He's no outlaw, Mr. Scott. Take my word for that.
But the bank it's been robbed.
By the bank examiner?
Yes. It must have been him. I was hit on the head, and when I came to, I was all tied up.
Tonto.
Yes, Kemo Sabe.
I found this on the floor. Broken exactly the same way as those we found at the scene of the stagecoach holdup and in the line shack.
The same man been in all 3 places.
It could be Jeff Williams. Both the robberies and the killings took place after he broke out of jail.
So young Williams has escaped. If that isn't a confession of guilt, I don't know what is.
I still believe that Jeff is innocent, but I'll need some help to prove it.
I'm just as interested in proving a man innocent as capturing a guilty one.
I'll need your help, too, Mr. Scott.
If the boy is really innocent, I'll do all I can to help prove it. But what makes you think Jeff Williams isn't guilty?
Tonto and I found the 2 men who held up the stage. It was one of those men posing as the bank examiner who robbed you.
Did you find the bank's money?
No, but both of them were dead. Shot by a third person.
Why are you so sure that third person isn't Williams? I say he was in with the 2 men on that stage holdup, and after he broke out of jail, he killed them and made off with the money.
Very sound reasoning, Mr. Scott, except for one thing. Tonto and I followed the trail of the third person. It led directly back into town.
Then it couldn't have been Jeff. He wouldn't have risked coming back to town. He'd have been spotted in a minute.
Exactly. And the man who rode into town wasn't afraid of being seen.
Everything you say may be true, but that still doesn't tell us who the man is.
With the plan I have in mind and your help, I believe we can make the man reveal himself. Now, I'll act as bait for the trap. We'll leave one body at the line shack. And Jean...
I'll spread the word around town that the sheriff has captured the 2 men who robbed the bank.
That's right. Now, here's what we'll do. Tonto, keep my guns and gun belt, will you?
Me do, Kemo Sabe. Those make you look like one of the men we find in shack.
Luckily, both he and I are built about the same.
Here, bandage, Kemo Sabe, to cover face and mask. Then no one able to tell you not man who already dead.
The whole plan depends upon this deception working.
It work, Kemo Sabe.
I hope so, for Jeff's sake.
Easy now, easy. Pete, give us a hand.
Oh, good evening, Mr. Scott.
Oh, hello, Martin. Well, the sheriff has the 2 men who robbed the bank today.
Oh.
The Indian found them. One of them was dead. But the sheriff's hoping Doc Barrett can pull the other one through so he can tell us what they did with the money.
Well, that's good news. The one who's still alive, he hasn't said anything?
Oh, he's in no condition to talk yet.
Mr. Scott, Doc Barrett says the man may be able to talk by morning. Apparently, he wasn't as badly hurt as we thought.
Well, that is good news.
Now I'll take his pal's body down to the coroner.
Cow.
Seeing what an outlaw looks like, Mr. Martin?
Yes. Yes, that's all, Sheriff.
Barton. You're on your way to the sheriff's office. Now get going.
Thank you, Jeff. How do you like your new job?
Well, I can promise you this, Sheriff. I'll never try to escape from behind these bars.
Jeff better be careful what he's saying. I happen to know my daughter's planning a life sentence for him.
Dad.
Gene and I certainly owe that masked man a lot.
I think I owe him the most. He not only recovered the bank's money, but he made me realize how wrong it is to judge a person on his past and not think of him by his hopes and ambitions for the future.
He's a great man, Mr. Scott. The West will grow and prosper with the help of men like the Lone Ranger.